So I understand that it's not always possible, but if you can give that little bit of wiggle room to allow a certain amount of flex time, you can really get more results out of a person. So flex time, I hear so many mixed messages. I have employers that I work with that absolutely love the concept, and I have others that just cannot do it. There are some industries that really make it more challenging to offer flex time. Again, I'm going to say on the regulation side, when you talk about any kind of Americans with Disabilities Act or Family Medical Leave Act, you do have to accommodate flex time if it's required in that interactive process. You do always want to be open to the idea, and if it's possible and it's not an undue hardship, I do strongly encourage you to do that. If you're not required to offer flex time under those types of platforms, I still encourage you to consider it. There's a lot of books out there that talk about employee engagement and employee motivation, how to get more out of an individual, and flex time has been proven to increase retention and increase engagement of that individual, because who cares if that person leaves early to go see their kid's soccer game? I mean, really, if they want to go and do that, let them do that. If they're getting their work done and they're meeting deadlines and they're meeting the results, then what does it matter if they're leaving at 3 instead of 5? These are just concepts that are really kind of new, but really started in this 1970s with the concept of flex time. There's a lot of great books out there on this about the ROW method. It's a results-only work environment. And if you have an organization, which I know we're not all able to do it, even internally, I still have to kind of meet that 8 to 5 to respond to client needs. So I understand that it's not always possible, but if you can give that little bit of wiggle room to allow a certain amount of flex time, you can really get more results out of a person. And that results-only work environment has been proven to be really successful if the industry can accommodate that. The other favorable side to flex time, if you really do have the industry that can accommodate and are able to provide a flexible work schedule for your team, I've seen so many situations where you give somebody a workload and they'll take the full 8 hours to do that workload. You give that exact same workload to that person and you tell them, hey, it needs to be done in 4 hours, and miraculously they get it done in 4 hours. So the other benefit to flex time, if they really want to get out the door at a certain time, they'll do the work in less time. They'll squeeze it all in. We get very, very motivated when we have other personal ambitions that we're wanting to achieve. So that just encourages that motivation even more, and thus more engagement in your organization. So you have people that are getting more things done in less time. And you're less likely to experience that horrible little burnout aspect because they're able to have a better work-life balance in the end. You also want to consider the fact that some people don't thrive in those types of environments. You are going to have some employees that have to have that structure. They like coming to work at 8. They like leaving at 5. They like having that structure. So you got to keep in mind flex time isn't going to work for everybody at the same time. Some people need structure. They need that. Other people want that flex time. So really, it's going to depend on your environment. It's going to depend on your industry and your employees as a whole. So I would encourage a consideration of it at least. Is it something you really can do? Or are you just choosing not to because you don't like the concept or you don't understand the concept? I would just encourage you to do a little bit more research and look into it. You can call me. I can tell you what books to read and what research to look into. My HR Pros is happy to walk you through a lot of that process. But I would consider at least a consideration of flex time before you just flat out say no, because it really can be beneficial for the employee and the company as a whole.